Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Legacy's Journey, where we talk about creating what outlives you. I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kelly Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for marketing agencies so that they can live the dream life they deserve and are not a slave to their business through CFO services. Now, y'all know we always bring y'all some dope guests, and these two right here, it's a little personal. Like we done did dinner. Like we started at the same time. Like they helped me at the beginning by throwing me some just it's a lot. And this just so happens to also, y'all know I talk about mentors. This is one of them. So I'm very happy to share with y'all Karron and Shanita Jones. So y'all, I'm gonna let y'all say, of course, tell the people who you are, name of the business, who you serve, and then we gonna jump into it.
So thank you so much for having us. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited watching everything that you've been doing. Again, my name is Shanita Jones, and I help accountants, bookkeepers, and tax pros get more clients online in less time without feeling sleazy. And I'm also the founder of Jones Taxes and Financial Services, where we help daycare owners to grow scalable, sellable businesses through proactive use of accounting strategies.
And I'm Karron Jones of Jones Taxes Financial Services. I'm the COO of Jones Taxes and also Chief Treasury, where we serve childcare centers to help them build wealth and help them know their numbers to grow their.
And he ain't tell y'all this, but he helping with the food industry too. But yes, he don't want to talk about it. That was your chance to get your plug.
It's cheese sticks also. Bringing a taste of Philly to Delaware.
There you go. There you go. All right, so let's jump into it. All right, so for me, so I've been like, we gotta do this for a while because a lot of times, right? I think some people say, well, like, how can I work with my spouse? And I literally just found out. I thought this was the first time. Turns out this is time number 3. So let's jump into that a little bit because I know being married, right? Like you live with your spouse all the time, you have your jokes, but I know when you start going into business, people struggle with, well, how do we turn it on and off? When do we not talk about it? How do we still, bring balance to that? So for this to be the third time and the time that I'm guessing is probably the most successful, just give us a little bit of insight on what didn't work right those first few times versus this time, what made it that perfect storm and that perfect synergy.
So we actually met at work. We worked for other employers, and it was funny because the day I met Karan, I was not nice to him. He was sitting in my seat.
What?
I walked in the break room. We would go there before breakfast, before work, and we would go there at lunchtime. And I walked up and I introduced myself, and then I told him nicely not to be there at lunchtime. But he was there at lunchtime the next day, the next day, and the next day. And he even went through this whole thing where he looked all around the table. And I was wondering if he dropped something, I was going to help him. And then that's when he told me that he was looking for my name. So that was the first time we worked together. We worked there together. What was it, about 2 years? How long did we work there together?
Whoops. I think I was at Brooks a little over 3 years.
Okay. So we worked there together 3 years, and then that company actually moved overseas. And then we worked together again at another company, and we probably were there together for about a year. And then I convinced him to join the firm with me full time about 3 years ago. And so he's been with me for 3 years now together.
Okay, what's your version of the story? Because I know it's always two different versions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. She was correct about Brooks, and there was another place called Roll Metal Products. And after I left Roll Metal Products, I went to Machine, and I was at the shipyard for about 13 years, and then COVID came around, and I was talking to her, and I was telling her about all these old guys that I keep seeing disappearing, and they're not saying anything about these guys. So she kept telling me, she said, well, come into the business full time. I said, do you know how much I get paid? And she said, no. So I said, baby, I need at least $100,000 a year. And she said, well, you got to do this, that, and that. I said, well, you got to show me that the business can afford this before I do this, that, and that. And she showed me the numbers. So needless to say, I did this, that, and that. And I took some courses. And I started watching her videos and start just sitting and just being a fly on the wall. And I'm still a fly on the wall in a whole lot of these groups and mastermind and things like that. Because I like to sit back and observe and get an understanding of things before I start talking. A lot of people say I'm quiet, but I'm not really that quiet. It's just I don't really have anything to say. And I'm just learning. And now it has turned very successful. And I'm just happy to actually, after these 3 years, still be happy and still want to be around my wife. Because a whole lot of people I talk to that done this is not the same.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, let's talk about that because I'm sure you probably can see the difference on why it's not the same. So, like, what are some of the things that you found help you to keep it to where, like, we legit enjoy this and are happy doing this together?
Well, first of all, it's communication. Um, we both don't have a problem telling each other what we like and what we don't like. We actually sit down and we have actually, I would call it like a marriage strategy session. So we can continue be married and work in the same space.
Right.
We talk about things. We get them out in the open, and if she needs a minute, give it to her. If I need a minute, give it to me. I go fishing a lot more now, just to get away, get some alone time, But she does what she do. She loves what she do. I love what I do, and I think we're a perfect match because she knows my strengths and weaknesses, and I know hers. And I'm not going to let anybody just get over, and she's not just going to let anybody get over on me because she knows me, and I know her. So it's been working out for her.
Okay. See, that's the wise answer. Now, what's your answer?
So he does go fishing a whole lot. He said he goes a little bit more. He goes fishing a whole lot. And that's okay with me for him to go fishing and not, be here all the time. He also has an office, what I call office part two. So he'll go to office part two, which is upstairs at the dining room table or in the family room. We have like one of these fancy tables he can pull out and sit there. So even though we work together, it's almost as if we're working at a regular outside of the home company because we don't sit and talk to each other all day, every day, like a lot of people think we do. I'm doing my work, my job, talking to the people I'm talking to. He's talking to the team, talking to different clients and doing what he does. And then we do a lot of continuing education. So sometimes we come together and do those together, but sometimes he's doing his things and I'm doing my things. So we work together full time, but I would say that we're not together. We're definitely not together intentfully 8 hours a day.
So still keep with some type of boundaries there. So there's still we're still independent in our own people. I like that. Okay. Now let's go into this. So you both mentioned it at the very beginning in your intros how it's not just one business. Like there's a total of 3 now. So
Four.
what's the 4th one?
So we have the cheesesteak business.
Okay.
The accounting business, the firm really has 3 legs that are really 3 separate businesses. So we do the accounting. We also have a childcare accounting and business academy, and then we coach accountants. So that's why I said it's basically like 4. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot in that. So again, with the balance, because of course, I'm sure, hey, there are certain times we got to pay more attention to this business versus that business. How does that balance work? Because it's clear that you guys keep the clear communication, but how do we know like the month of September, we got to put more into the academy or October, maybe it's more to the accounting and tax work. How do you guys have that conversation?
Basically, he's in charge of making sure all the payments come in. So if payments aren't coming in one area as they should be, or as they usually are consistently, he'll usually ask, "Where's all the money from this?" And then that usually is, "Oh, like, okay, let's go over here. Let's get some more money." So I would say that's probably how it works. What would you say, Karron?
I would say scheduling. I would say scheduling. Scheduling is real big with me. I got several different calendars. My favorite is an Asana calendar because I can put the different colors for the different businesses, different payments.
Right.
And I look on the calendar and I'll see when it's downtime here. Okay, I'll focus more here. Or if it's downtime in this business, I'll focus more here. So that's how it works for me personally.
All right, here we go. So, all right, here's another thing because y'all have just graduated to being empty nesters now.
6 days. 6 days. I got a countdown going on.
Okay, so let's talk about that transition because it's one thing to say, like, all right, we got to stay in love, we got to keep the business going, and we got to keep the kid focused. Now, what is that transition like moving from that to just like, oh man, it's just going to be us? What adjustments or how do you guys plan on handling it?
Well, I'm not happy about it. I want to move to the city with the college so that we can go get our baby and watch him and keep him.
Pops like,
I'm I'm working on convincing our daughter to move back home so we can, we can have a kid. Um,
Not happy.
so since that's probably not going to happen, we are actually working on working smarter and not harder so that we can travel more. Now that there's no need for babysitters or anything like that. So we basically want to get out, go more places and do more things. And he's probably going to try to keep me away from the college campus.
that is such a mom answer, by the way.
Well, I was saying, uh, there's just some things that's going to change here. First of all, I got to take out trash again. I got to do the chores again. So it's like, on that note, yeah, I'm going to miss him. You know, that's my buddy. I'm going to miss him, but I want him to experience that college life and that campus life and things that growing up that I could have never done. So it's like, I'm happy in that way, but also I might start closing off some air ducts and some power in here because it's just me and her in this house. It's like, and we only in the office and in the room, in the family room. I'm like, we would pay a lot of money to eat and air condition this place, and we only in two rooms. So I'm just thinking about it that way and thinking about the trash. So now I got to put the trash in my calendar with me and everything. So it's like, it has its pros and cons, but I'm just happy that he's able, that we're able to give him whatever he needs and support him, and he can live out his dreams.
All right, let's go into that because, of course, I know a little bit more than the average person. So you mentioned, okay, you didn't have that opportunity, and I know Shanita had to work very, very hard from the ground up. So let's talk about a little bit about what was one of the goals of both of you running these multiple businesses to be able to set them up to go to college, or was it to come in and take over the family business, or how did you guys approach that?
Now, Shanita will approach that differently because that's what she wanted. I wanted him to be a machinist, but it's ultimately his choice, and I'm just glad that we have a table that he would always have a seat at if needed or wanted to come back. And I actually told him, but I didn't tell my wife. I was telling him, you know, slip some accounting classes in there, or start studying some things to where as though if you want to come back, you can come back. We always got to see a table for you, but you would at least be learning something that can help us out. But Shanita's the greatest teacher that I've ever seen close up. So, and I talk to a lot of people, and they hear me talk, which I don't talk a lot. And I start talking about these things, and a lot of these things, I'm just watching and I'm learning from her. So,
And I just want to point out that I told you a long time ago, your gift was teaching, and you didn't believe me. Just you heard it from your boo. He
You did
said
say it.
he said it too. All right, so all right, because I know for you, you had to work through college, you had to, take the CPA exam, you got it, and even with Jones Tax and Financial, like it wasn't just it blew up in 1 year. This was like, I think he told me one time it was like 10 years building up, and then by the time we met, that was when you just decided to jump into the pool.
Well, I didn't really decide to jump into the pool. I was kind of sitting on the side of the pool with my feet in it. And then I met somebody, and that's how I met you. And you were the biggest peer pressurer, the youngest person in the group, just running by like that little brother, just pushing his sister in the pool. And that's what you continue to do every single day. But it was a long road. I had started out in 2010, and it took me all the way up until the end of 2019 to actually go full time and quit my job. So yeah, it was almost 10 years. It was a long time.
But I think, like, and yes, we're gonna go here because this is our podcast. I think the beauty of it is when you see other black and brown people doing something and they have the ability and chance to be great. I think it's something to celebrate and something to push because a lot of times, especially in our culture, like we're happy to be making the six figures at the corporate job because our parents and our grandparents couldn't. But I know for me, I mean, you had it. Everything you're doing now. We saw this 3 years ago. It was just you just had that doubt of like, oh no, and what is this going to be, and what is this conversation? But to see it now just blossoming, like you said, y'all are able to support your kid, giving them the option, which I think is huge because we know other cultures do that as well. Like, hey, you can go college. That's cool. We're not knocking it. If you want to come back, you already know what it is, and we got the spot for you. And not even being able to pressure, but just to say that from a place of abundance, I think is a beautiful thing. Um, I'm trying to think because I want to go.
Quran said it from a place of abundance. I said it from a place of pressure. I never told him he had an option. You don't have an option. Your option is to go to college. And up until my daughter broke the mold and she became a nurse and the nurse manager in her unit, the option was you go to school and you go work in this family business, this legacy. But I soon learned the error in my ways and that there's more than one way to leave a kid a legacy besides leaving them a business, and sometimes that business is not a legacy. When I heard that broken down so eloquently by Lamar Tyler, I said, wow. So my kids don't know him, but they have him to thank for me finally releasing them to their destiny.
I love to do that though, because I think a lot of times as business owners, that's just what you think. Like, I built this very successful business. You're going to take it over. But for you to now, I mean, we know what Big Dog over there said. Like, he open. I just want to support you. As long as you're doing something positive with your life, we good. In your case, all right, so he said, I guess Lamar Tyler says what that made you really realize, like, you know what? Fill in the blank.
He said, and I'm not quoting him verbatim, but he said that a lot of us parents want our children to have these businesses, and many of us aren't even that happy in our businesses ourselves. But we could actually give them more legacy if we were leaving them things like real estate and leaving them the means to do things instead of basically. I felt like at the time when I heard him say it a few years ago, I felt like I would be basically leaving my kid a job because I was self employed, but I had a job and I didn't even make it look attractive to my kids. So why would they want to see me struggle and suffer and aspire to do the same thing? I would have wanted to run away from me as quickly as I could have too. So when I heard him talking, and he was at a conference, he was a guest speaker the first time I heard him say it. And when I heard him say that, it finally clicked when he was telling the parents, stop trying to force your kids into doing what you would have them to do. And instead, if you really want to build generational wealth, he was saying that that's like 7 generations after you, and you're not going to get them there by giving them your business. So I said, oh, okay. I didn't like it at first, but the more I listened and thought about it, I was like, you know what? He's right. So my kids were off the hook after that.
Okay. Okay. All right. I like it. I like it. All right. So now let's do some more digging. So again, for those of you who don't know, so and I've said this plenty, like it's on my Facebook. It's about a lot. So this is one of my mentors, and one of the things that I've always said, which I don't even know if she knows this, they probably don't, but I've always been, I guess you could say, a fan of your mentors. I think you should be. For me, it was the way she approached it in a realistic way. So now that you work with both your industry, childcare, and now accountants, how do you teach them in a way that maybe younger you, which would have wanted to be taught? Because I know for me, it's very practical and simplistic, which I prefer. Like, I'm always, teach me like I'm in third grade. Now, you've always been very good at like, hey, I know what these coaches and these people who making millions are telling you, but we're not at that level. So we have to approach this different. Like, get a little bit into that, because I think even Karron hinted at it that one of your gifts is teaching, but you, with that being your gift, you have to know how to meet people where they are.
Exactly. So with the childcare business owners, I think I actually really got better at being a teacher by having to teach educators. So many of the people that I work with, they have PhDs and master's degrees in education. So they are educated educators. And initially, I assumed that when someone is educated and intelligent, uses certain terminology, that they in fact know what they're really saying. But it didn't take long for me to realize I could be having a conversation with someone and we're actually talking about two different things because they are educated in their discipline and not necessarily mine. So I realized that I needed to stop taking for granted that just because a person used the word, they understood what it meant. And I had to stop taking for granted that they just knew the things that to an accountant or a business major, because I'm a business major, that an accountant or a business person would take to just be practical, simple knowledge. It wasn't to them. It didn't come natural to them. So once I realized that, I began to, and I joke about it, and I tell them, I don't mean to assume your intelligence, but I'm going to try to keep our conversation at a third grade level because I'd rather err on the side of telling you something that you know than err on the side of assuming you do know and you missing out. So after I got really good at teaching them, I was able to take the same philosophy and just carry it over to the accountants. But now I had specific examples of what I did with the daycares. So when I tell them, this is how you want to approach this is what you want to do, I could actually pull up an example and say, see, just like that. And that was one of the things that made it different because a lot of people in our industry that teach us don't really reach us because they aren't doing what we're doing or they did it so long ago that what they may have knew is no longer applicable. So I'm actually telling them in the current, this is what's going on in the here and now.
So are you saying that you got to marketing because the marketing people weren't coming correct to you, the accountant?
Now, I didn't say that exactly, but if that is your interpretation,
Yes. Okay. It's okay, because I mean, a lot of people are always like, well, dang, to the person who has multiple businesses, how do they spring off? And I think that's a good point right there of like, hey, y'all are saying great stuff, but like that's not practical. And I think that is one of the things that probably does set you apart. We could, I'm sure, ask clients, and I'm sure she has plenty of testimonials at her website and that she could give. Um, but I think that's probably, I mean, that's what created the need for you to make that switch and add that new factor. So okay, I'm gonna switch to Big Dog. So when you see her add this new part to the business, so hey, I want to start coaching other accountants. Your first thought is, outside of we already got some successful, what are you thinking at this point?
To be honest, I'm thinking time, 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 because we spend so much time in the business. It's like now we're getting better with our time, and we're starting to take trips just for me and her. Starting to do more with the family. I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. We finally get this to a certain place, and now you want to jump into this, want to take this, want to take that. So honestly, my thing is time.
Okay, but let's go there. So, first thing is time, but now, so between then and now, because the marketing side is probably what, like a year and a half, maybe old, maybe a year now. So, what's changed in that time frame to where you're like, we were able to figure it out, one, and B, we're able to keep everything in balance by doing the traveling and things of that nature.
Well, that goes back to communication and also scheduling. Like I said, I'm big on scheduling, and when when we communicate and we promise some things to each other, I don't care if something's on fire over here. If we say we're going to do this for us for a healthy marriage, this is what we're going to do. So we just keep our word to each other. I understand, certain things happen in business, but we just try as much as possible to make sure that we carve that time out for each other, uh, to get out of the office, get away from the computer, and because that's healthy. I mean, if you're just in the business all day, every day, like she knows, I don't like to talk about business in the bed. So we're working on not bringing business upstairs in the bed, and it's been working. It's been challenging to some of us, but we just got to keep at it. We just got to keep at it and
All right.
praying about it. That's number one. We actually talk about these things and we pray about these things. So we try to stay on course that way.
All right, communication and prayer. Now to you, Miss Jones. So, all right, because I know, because clearly we talk all the time. So, how does that work? So, okay, I know what we gotta do to stay married, stay super happy in love, which y'all doing a great job of. But I also know those ideas. I mean, it's two different businesses, two completely different trains of thoughts. How do you kind of, I don't know if you want to say turn the brain off or better funnel those thoughts to keep that going?
My brain never shuts off. I do. I remember when we were younger, like 20 years ago, Karron would ask me a question about something important, and I would say, I don't know, I need to go to sleep and think about that. And in the first few times I said it, I saw his face look confused, but he didn't say anything. He Guess he didn't know me well enough to say what. And I knew that it was something that kind of threw him off when I said it. So I got a kick out of telling him that. As years went by, and I would say it periodically, one day he finally would say to me, how are you saying you're thinking if you're sleeping? I don't understand this. And so then that's when I, began to tell him, like, I do my best thinking when I'm asleep. For me, my brain doesn't shut off. If I have a pressing thing that's weighing on my mind, I am just not going to be able to do anything or anything else until I have a chance to at least write it down, send myself a voice memo or something. Because as entrepreneurs and as the visionary, when you have these ideas, they can slip away because they come so quickly, right? So if you get a good one and you want to hold on to it, you kind of have to gotta let the other person know, like, yes, I understand. Just give me a second. I need to do this thing, and then write your note, send your voice memo, do whatever you got to do. Um, because if you don't, you're gonna lose whatever that thing is.
Okay. All right. So look, that's a marriage tip. If y'all both work in the business, see what you need to do. You just heard it here first from the successful Jones family. All right. So let's transition a little bit. Okay. So you've been doing this for a while. What are two or three things that you would say help you to be as successful as you are? Whether they are, I'll let you figure those out. I don't know if they're joint things or separate, but like if we didn't do these two or three things, man, I don't know if we'd be having the success that we have.
You want to go first?
No. You go ahead. You take that.
I would say I am super determined, persistent. I do not give up. So if I didn't have determination, I would be done. And the other thing I would think I would say contribute to success, it goes without saying, of course, to God be the glory. I couldn't do anything without Him. But speaking in the natural, it would definitely be that determination and focus. And then the next thing I think it would also be, I guess I would have to say faith. Even though I would have to say faith that even when I lose, I win, and faith that if something doesn't work out, it is all going to work together for my good in the end. So just doing it anyway. I didn't want to quit my job. I didn't want to get pushed in a pool. You kept running by. I didn't want to do it. But once I got in and took that plunge in the deep end, I had no choice but to keep swimming. Sometimes I got tired and had to float. But if I didn't, I was going to sink and drown, and that just wasn't an option.
Okay. Okay.
I would pretty much say the same thing, honestly. Um, yeah, I think I'll leave her answer there. Whatever.
Okay. All right. See, when you marry, y'all can say the same thing and it's got the same weight. I feel it. All right. Separate but related. What are 2 or 3 things that being a business owner has taught you about yourself now? Because at this point, 4 businesses. And of course, we know that as business owners, we learn something about ourselves every day. Oh man, I didn't realize this, that. So, what are some things that it's taught you now about yourself?
But I would say, first of all, nobody likes saying this, but I realize that I'm not always right. That uh, listening before speaking, listening to the team, not just saying, okay, this is our thing, that this is the way it's going to be, but as well as communication with my wife. You know, I also communicate with the team, and I hear the account manager's perspective, team members, and things like that. And lastly, I would say uh, being business owners and not having someone to bail you out. Uh, I realized that I'm a lot more determined than I thought I was, because we're feeding families, and we're also feeding our family. And like I said, we don't have that job that's just waiting there. That every 2 weeks, health insurance and this and that. So I realized that we're more determined than I thought that we were, to be able to be at this level and continuously do it at this level, and getting better and better every day.
Okay. Okay. You gonna add to it or you just gonna tag on it?
Yeah, I got my 4. I learned that I do not like making big decisions. And if I'm going to make a big decision,
Wait, what?
I don't.
Weird.
And if I have to make a big decision, I want to make it and I don't want to talk about it no more, or I will change my mind. Soon as you open that door, I'm walking in. So I don't like making decisions. I also learned number 2, despite the fact that my master's degree is in organizational leadership, I don't like managing people. Um, somebody else.
Really? But you're a people person.
I'm a people person. That's why I don't like managing people, which leads to point number 3. As much as I love people, number 3, I love having my time by myself to think, and I talk to myself a lot. I think it's really healthy. I think everybody should do it. And sometimes I record the conversations and listen to them later. And the 4th thing that it has taught me is that I am a lot stronger than I thought I was.
That's good. I'm just in shock because I mean, y'all people person. This is people person. So that is hilarious.
Yeah,
Okay.
you gotta take a break from the peopling sometime.
I mean, that's true. That's true. All right, let's go here. So, you are where you are. We've had kids. They're on the way or already through college. What would you go back? Knowing everything you know now, everything, how it's happened and transpired, what would you go back and tell fresh out of college or fresh out of high school version of you? And I ask this question because a lot of times, especially on the marketing side, it's always tailored towards you're young. You just come in and you're gonna have success right away. You're gonna hit those six figures and they sell you the pipe dream. So if you could go back and talk to the young Shani or the young Karan, you would go back and tell them what?
Do it sooner. Don't stop. Do it. Do it as fresh out of high school, fresh out of college. Don't wait.
I would say don't be afraid to bet on you.
All right, y'all
Because
got more in detail. This is good.
I would say don't be afraid to bet on you. You get these jobs and you get excited and you sign a contract because they promise you all these things that they're going to give you and all these things that they're going to have. But look at what's happened in the economy, not even just in the last few years, in the last decade, even. And we're so afraid that we won't be stable, that we hold on to these things. There's not really stability at all. You came in this world by yourself, you are leaving out of this world by yourself. So if you're going to bet on anybody or anything, you got to bet on yourself.
All right, why you say do it sooner? Because some people may say, well, I'm too scared or I don't have enough of a nest egg saved or whatever.
I would say do it sooner because sometimes when you wait and you procrastinate, uh, things never happen. And when you got those type of ideas and you got all that fresh young energy, I mean, because these days can get long, these nights can get long, and I mean, you know, 40 plus now, it's like uh, I need a little more rest than usual. Take me a little longer to get up those steps, and I just would say do it sooner so you can have more time to enjoy it
Okay.
because time waits for no man. We don't know the day or the hour that our numbers will be called. So it's like I would rather get it done sooner and have that time with the kids to actually run around and go to Disney World, those things, opposed to while they're growing up to be stuck in an office, stuck at a job. That's just my perspective on
Okay. Okay. That's that wisdom right there. Okay. Now, I got to talk about this because this is the more, I would say, more interesting because since I know accounting and finance, to us, that's like the English language to everybody. But on this marketing side, since you're teaching other us, how is that transition going? Because you know how we think, you know how we talk, you know that we're the more analytical, the less creative, and you're one of the few that I would say is probably blessed to be able to switch back and forth relatively easy. How has that transition been going for you in regards to bringing us accountants to this easier marketing world?
So honestly, it has been a blessing. It's been an absolute joy. And I usually lead with if you understand math and money, you understand marketing. Because marketing is nothing but a numbers game. So I approach it from an analytical standpoint because I'm talking to analytical people. So I don't just teach them what to do and how to do it because we don't get that. We don't understand that, right? But I teach them how to actually analyze it so that they can optimize it and how to find the numbers behind it. So they got their little spreadsheets and they doing charts. So it's making sense to them because I'm able to meet them where they at. I am them. They are me. So I know how to make it make sense to them. So they never have situations where they say, my marketing isn't working. They'll say, "Oh, I realize this part of my marketing, my KPIs are off. I think I need to do this to increase my performance or my engagement. What do you think?" And the community is so dope. So they'll have a whole discussion, but it's all numbers driven. So it's really not it's not guessing. It's actually quantifiable numbers, data. So it just makes sense. Now the creative part, that's what graphic designers are for. I don't do any design. I will write. I will write. Go to town writing. Um, that part, that type of creativity, fine, and it just works well. Once you give them numbers, it makes sense.
All right. So in running an agency now, what are the biggest differences you think you've seen between running a very successful accounting and tax firm versus running a successful, about to be a more successful marketing agency? Are there differences, like even Karron with you being that COO, seeing the operation? Because yes, she did let it slip that you is the AI guru now. So I'm sure there are some things where you like, dang, we can't really do that in accounting or finance versus over here. Wow, we have way different types of opportunities. What is that like?
I would say to me, as far as writing emails and things like that, copy, which I didn't even know. I was tricked into doing copy, and
Wait,
didn't know
wait. How
that.
you get tricked into doing copy?
Just talking to her, just talking to her, and I start seeing things in videos, and she was like, I just look at it like, really? And right now, honestly, I'm more learning on the marketing side myself, because she really dealt with all the marketing, all the ads. So, but I always was around. I always was fly on the wall, watching. So I know some of the things, but I'm still learning as the students are learning. Um, Marketing, I don't know honestly how to answer that question.
Okay, I'll make it easier. You're the AI guy. So one of the popular questions I've heard,
Newly AI guy.
but that means you know more than most people. So do you think AI will take the job of either the marketing agency or the accounting firm?
I don't think it would take accounting. Um, I think it would take maybe like copywriters out of marketing. I don't think it would take marketing.
Why do you think it would take the copywriters out? Because some of them would say that AI can't write copy like I can because it's not going to be as personalized, or it can't learn you in the best way. Your argument with that is,
Well, I don't have an argument per se about that, but if you talk to to AI and you train AI and continuously, it's going to sound more and more like you.
oh,
I mean, you just have to keep uh, as it's spitting out things. You just have to keep talking to it. Well, I don't like this. I don't like that. I wouldn't say this. I wouldn't say that. But I mean, that's just my opinion about the copywriter side of it. Uh, I'm not saying that like I want all copywriters going or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just, hey, if I can trim some fat and help her out somewhere using the stuff that I'm learning, I'm going to do that.
yeah.
That's why I said I would think that would take that away.
So you think it doesn't replace the bookkeeper?
No, not yet. Not yet. I mean, look at the Jeffersons. They were talking about the flying cars, and look how long it took for all this stuff that we used to watch as kids. And all that was AI. And we're starting to see all this stuff nowadays. So it's like, I don't know the time frame of it, but I don't think uh, anytime soon.
Okay. Okay. All right. What say you, Mrs. Creative Notepad?
So, oh, it's right here, you know. So I'm gonna write that copy. I was tricked into writing copy. That is gonna be my copy later on today. Thank you, Karan. Um, So y'all don't know how much stuff I get from her.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. That's hilarious.
So I think that we're gonna come to a day where we're gonna have a bunch of robots writing copy and another bunch of robots reading the copy. I think that AI absolutely can replace the bookkeeper, but easier than I think it can replace the copywriter. So I think that now is a really good time for copywriters because AI has not yet evolved to a level where AI can actually fully replace humans. And now it's time to go back to the copywriting, like the copywriting formats, the basic ones, and really learning them and understanding them and how to make that AI do that. So copywriters now have the ability, if you, and there was a time for them to niche. So if you are a direct response copywriter, this is your world. If you are writing sales pages or whatever type of copy you do, or you're better at, or you enjoy most, I would go all in on that so that I could really stand out as in that particular type of copy, and training people how to use this AI software and also how to make it better. And there's less work for them, and you can always get paid more to teach what you know than you can to do what you do. So if I was a copywriter, this would really be my time to shine. We'd be doing intensives and all kind of stuff.
But you say the bookkeeper out of here.
I don't think they're out of here right now, but we've been using AI. Everybody's so afraid of AI. We've been using AI in bookkeeping for years. When you use QuickBooks software, has been telling us, at least for the last 2 years, and it's just getting smarter and smarter. This should be, oh, that's the gas station. You should code that to vehicles. It's been telling us, oh, last time you did this, this is where you coded it. You should do it this way this time. We have rules where you can do things, but does it make it right? No, because it's only going based off of what's been put in there, and then everybody's business is the same. So can AI replace bookkeepers? Yes. um will they still need, will a business owner still need the oversight, that person to help them grow, that person to help them interpret it? Yes. So in my opinion, like for our when we finally officially separate our companies, we'll use somebody else, a person, to do the accounting for their firm, because I'd much rather have a human set of eyes, human expertise involved, than just relying strictly on some software and clicking some buttons, because the computer can only do what the computer has been programmed to do. And if your business is different or unique in any kind of way, there's no way for the computer to know.
And I agree with that too. I think it'll take bookkeepers out first for the reasons you said, but I think your high level accountants, CFOs, I mean, you can't beat our experience. You don't know how to interpret the data and give those insights and analysis and variances like we do, and know how to shape it to each and every individual business. So I agree with you guys there. All right. Well, I know y'all got to go save the world. So I'm going to leave this last piece open to you guys. So tell people if they want to connect with you, maybe they want to be coached, maybe they have a daycare, or they know somebody who needs your help. Maybe they're in the Delaware or Philly or DC area, and they like, man, he said he got these 5 cheesesteaks. How do they get in contact with you? Give them websites, emails, however you want them to connect with you guys.
To our new election department.
So, if you are an accountant, bookkeeper, or tax pro, and you are tired of spending your time with brain pickers and tire kickers, and you really like to get some monthly recurring revenue generated and work with some clients that will value your expertise, you should come hang out with me in my free community. It's called Accountants Unladdered on Facebook, where we help you get off the corporate ladder. And if you're already off, we help you stay that way. If you are a childcare business owner and you would like to scale your business and reach new heights, then you can hang out with me on Facebook. Also, we have a community for you. It's called the Childcare Profit Strategy Community, hosted by yours truly. And lastly, but not least, if you're hungry and you want some cheesesteaks and you're in the Philadelphia, Delaware, New Jersey area, I'm Patty's Cheesesteaks. You can hit them up on Facebook as well, and they'll take good care of you.
All right, he's going to give us the nod for that. All right, well, I guess this is the end because I know y'all got to go serve. But I appreciate you guys for coming. Hopefully everybody got a ton of value from this conversation. You have met my mentor, so you've met them. You see how much fun we have, and we're always throwing ideas back and forth. But I myself am super proud, just because. I mean, I've told you this, so this isn't a surprise to them. But it gives me a roadmap. Like, okay, hey, these are people who are further down the road. They've done what I'm doing. They're doing it with a level and spirit of excellence. They're continuing to grow. They're happily married. You know, I'm not going to say have it figured out because I'm sure they'd argue me on that, but they have direction. And of course, for me, they look like me. You know, it's one thing to, have a mentor. And that's one of the things my mom told me. You need to have a mentor that don't look like you. You need to have a mentor that look like you because they're going to give you two different perspectives. But I appreciate you guys for just laying the foundation, not by necessarily going out of your way, but by just being you. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to come here on the podcast, chop it up, get some laughs in. Again, if you want to be coached, accountants unladdered. If you got a childcare or your buddy got a daycare, they're struggling, they need a little help. You know where to go for that. Did you tell them the website?
I did not tell them the website. So we actually have a training coming up. So the website for the newest training for accountants, when you pull up the URL, you could go to accountantsunlater.com/registered dash now. And you can see whichever training we have coming up. They'll be scheduled soon. And if you are a childcare business owner, you can visit us at jonestexasonline.com.
And mind you, she can help you all over the country. You don't have to just be in Philly, DC, Jersey. You can be in California. Well, California special. We'll say, we'll say like Alabama.
It depends.
There's that. And again, if you need them cheese, go look at the pictures. These things ain't like the little cheap ones that be in the frozen. These are like huge, massive, like back in the day before COVID, when you would get a lot of food, but more than that, that's how these cheesesteaks are. So we appreciate y'all for coming. We're gonna let y'all go. Again, thank you guys so much for Lexi's journey. We're gonna try to keep these guests coming. They may not always be as wonderful as this, but we're gonna try our best to make it happen. All right, y'all. See y'all soon. Peace.
Thank you so much for having us.